Let's move on now to the Indianapolis Colts in our 2023 NFL Draft review. But before we get into that, if you have not already, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you can get notified when Ryan and I release new content. We have a bunch of post-draft material coming up here over the next month, covering all the NFL teams, including the Colts. So be sure to subscribe, comment, and let us know what your favorite pick was of the Indianapolis Colts. What do you think of Anthony Richardson, or even getting Blake Freeland or Josh Downs in the third or fourth round? So, Ryan, let's get into it. I've already mentioned a couple of the names overall, but just in general, I really liked this Colts draft and how everything panned out.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting what they do with Anthony Richardson this season. Obviously, he will be starting at the beginning of his sophomore season, but there's going to be some debate on whether he should play or should not play. And to me personally, I mean, you maybe can go out and win the division. Like, it's not out of the realm of possibility, but this is kind of a similar debate as what we were having with, I believe it was Mac Jones, Cam Newton. It's like Cam Newton will probably start, but then we're talking about like, well, if Mac Jones is going to be the guy, like we know what we have in Cam Newton. Yeah. And it's like we know what they have in Gardner Minshew. He's a good quarterback. That's fine. But, I mean, maybe he'll win the division if all the other teams suck. But if Anthony Richardson can improve immensely and Shane Steichen can like get him on the right path and they are just clicking, from the get-go, there is a lot of potential on this offense with how freak of an athlete he is.
Yeah, so I think his rookie season is going to look pretty similar to Lamar Jackson's rookie season, where Joe Flacco is probably going to take the majority of the snaps, but they're going to bring in, or the Ravens would bring in Lamar Jackson for set quarterback run plays, right? Like you imagine Shane Steichen with that QB sneak that they love to run in Philly. They're not running that with Gardner Minshew. They're running that with Anthony Richardson. And so like things like that, I think you just put him on the field as a freak athlete. And one of the big things that I think Shane Steichen has in front of him, or one of the big tasks to do in front of him, is rebuild this offensive line.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily bring in new players because I think the talent is there. They just need the coaching to be playing at a level that they were playing at a couple seasons ago. So I think that is really important for Richardson's development. But in some ways, I kind of just want the Colts to throw him into the fire and be like, look, you can make your mistakes. Like, we know you're going to make the highlight reel plays, but like you're going to make some mistakes. The big thing is do you learn from those mistakes and then move forward and not make them anymore? So that to me is going to be the big thing. He does need some refinement mechanically, just to speed up his release, make it more consistent. But yeah, they hit it out of the park with that first one. I think it worked out perfectly for the style of offense that Shane Steichen wants to run. And the Colts fans, I think, should be pretty happy. So let's move on now, though, from Anthony Richardson and get into what I think makes this draft so great for the Indianapolis Colts. So starting here, I'm going to go through the next 5 picks just all in a row. But Julius Brents in the second round, Josh Downs, the wide receiver from North Carolina, in the third round, Blake Freeland, the offensive tackle from BYU, in the fourth round, Adetomiwa Adebawore, the defensive end from Northwestern, in the fourth round, and then Darius Rush, the cornerback from South Carolina, in round 5. So Josh Downs, Julius Brents, I had a second round grade on. Josh Downs, I had a second round grade on. Blake Freeland, I had a third round grade on. As you call him, the alphabet man.
I did not coin that. I heard that. I was like, as someone that struggles to pronounce names, I'm just going to call him the alphabet.
Yeah. I had a second round grade on him. So that's great value here at 110. And then I had an early third on Darius Rush, the corner, who had a fantastic Senior Bowl. So all of those picks I had on day 2, day 2 caliber, and they got them well into day 3.
Yeah. All of these guys are for sure, if not potential, day 1 starters. Even Darius
Rush contribute in some way.
They will contribute in some. Even Darius Rush getting picked in the 5th round here, losing Stephon Gilmore. There is definitely a lot of opportunity in the secondary, to say the least. A lot of opportunity on that offensive line with Blake Freeland. He is a big guy, very athletic, and so did need some improvement and as a project. But that being said, though, if they can get it right, that's the key. That's the key to any NFL offense is the offensive line, but particularly this offense, especially with Anthony Richardson back there, and with how good Jonathan Taylor is, it's like this should be a no-brainer. That it's like the offensive line needs to be borderline the most important part of this offense in particular. And so that's one thing. It's not like it's weird because I really like or love all the picks that they had, but like if I had to be picky, I wish they would have taken another offensive lineman in the double digit category.
Yeah, I do agree, but I also think some of these guys, they needed length at corner, and Julius Brents fell to them at 44. I think that's about where he was projected to go. And so I think that they immediately took that. And then to add even more length and speed in Darius Rush in round 5 is good. And then Josh Downs make it to 79, I think is just ridiculous. I mean, there were some people that had him going 31 to the Chiefs. And then I remember texting in our family group chat that the Patriots were picking at like 75. And I was like, I want Josh Downs so bad. Like this would be a steal. And then he goes 4 picks later to the Colts. Yeah. And so I like, to me, I think that's hard to pass up. Maybe they could have moved up a little bit to take another tackle or a guard. But I think if you look at their depth chart, I don't necessarily think that personnel was their issue last season. I think it was just the fact that Frank Reich lost the team and this offensive line had no want to anymore. So,
well, yeah. And then that combined with Matt Ryan and then
injuries set in.
Jonathan Taylor got hurt as well. Yeah. So it was just a whole thing. And so that would be the one where it's like, to be fair of the pick, because that's what I'm saying. Like, I like the Josh Downs pick a lot. To be fair, Osiris Torrance was picked at 59.
Yeah.
So he was an offensive guard. And there was a couple centers there. Juice Scruggs was taken at 62 overall. And I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Then Tyler Steen was taken by the Eagles, the second pick of the third round, pick 65. And if I am not mistaken, the next offensive lineman that was taken was Wanya Morris. So there was a clear gap from that like first run of offensive line, the second round, to then when everybody else went. So so that's where it's like I could absolutely see them being like, Josh Downs is sitting here, and we need to get a slot receiver anyways that I think would also complement Michael Pittman and Alec Pierce really well. Yeah. So let's get him here. The absolute best player available, fills a need. And then you go and get Blake Freeland, who I also think would have been a good pick here, but then like you get Josh Downs and Blake Freeland. You know? Exactly. So it is it's a very picky thing for me to just complain on. But like if I had to knock anything, like it would be that. But it's not really even a knock because it worked out in the end. You know?
Yeah. But let's move on now. They do have 6 more picks that they made through the rest of the draft. So Daniel Scott, the safety from California, Will Mallory, the tight end from Miami. He ran the fastest 40 of any of the tight ends at the combine. Evan Hall, the running back from Northwestern. Titus Leo from Wagner. Jalen Jones, and then Jake Witt, the offensive tackle from Northern Michigan. So I think this is good value here. Here at this point of the draft, you're really looking for traits. Evan Hall was a pretty consistent runner. I think he adds good depth there. Jalen Jones was a guy that some people had going in the 3rd round. He did fall pretty far, so I'm not sure why. But also could be good value there as well. So all in all, I think the Colts had some really solid picks. I think they got a lot of good value here late. And you look at what they did in the first half of the draft. Yeah. And I just think they absolutely crush it.
Well, and then also they could have just gotten the steal of the draft as well. If he totally pans out, like Jake Witt is a D2 offensive lineman. Did you see some of the highlights that they were showing when they drafted him? Dude's like a former basketball player turned into a tight end, turned into an offensive lineman, and just mauled these people. Like at his pro day, he's jumping like he's 300 pounds and he's jumping through the moon like 6'7". Dude is freakishly athletic. So if they can hone in some skills, and I'm blanking on the guy's name, but from Philadelphia, like the former rugby player.
I forget his name also.
Let me pull it up here. But it's like a freak athlete like that, and then you can go and put him on the offensive line, and he can just maul over guys. Jordan Mailata.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so guys like that, getting him here, and then shoot, if he doesn't pan out,
It was pick 236. Who cares?
Yeah. So
yeah.
In general, though, I really like the draft and the value here as well. I thought they addressed a lot of different needs, a lot of different positions, and got some good depth.
Yeah, but let's get into our grades here. So I have this draft as my A+, which is basically that this is my premier draft class from the 2023 draft. I think if you're getting value, like starter value from round 1 to 5, and you're getting 6 guys that can come in and potentially make a big difference on your roster, I think it's really hard to beat that. That, to me, I think just solidified that the Colts, while I don't think that they necessarily will win the division, you can't really count them out because they could have 5 rookies come in and make a huge difference.
Yeah. Yeah. So I really wanted to focus on just giving one A+ and be like, that's my favorite one. And don't worry, Colts fans, I did not give it to the Texans or the Titans. So, but or the Jags. So yeah, so you don't have to worry about that. But this, to me, this is probably a solidified number, like my number 2. Like if there's like an A plus minus, so to say, this is the one that I would get. I really like what they did. They had a clear vision on what they wanted to do and planned everything out, and they got great value. I thought, as I said, like those first 6 guys, if they're not starting day one, like they are contending and contributing immediately. So in general, really kind of just like they did a great job and waiting on Anthony Richardson, not having to trade up. And because then you get Bryce Young, but then that's kind of one of the Panthers are going to have to do is like, let's say Bryce Young, let's say he doesn't get hurt, but then he just doesn't have a good NFL career. But then you see Stroud and Richardson go off. Yeah. Well, then that's going to be hanging over their head. You gave up DJ Moore and a 2024 first, wherever that's going to be. And we could have had Anthony Richardson. And the Colts are like, we have a plan. We understand that we are not just a quarterback away. We have a bunch of other needs that we have to focus on as well. Yeah. And they addressed all of them with great players.
Yeah. And I think you look at a lot of the interviews with Anthony Richardson, I think he has the mindset to come in and be successful because he kind of knows he's a project. He knows he's an elite athlete and what he's good at right now, but he does have some really good self-awareness and knows that he needs to come in and improve. So I think that also is really going to help this situation. And I really like what the Colts did. I can't harp on that enough. I think they had a fantastic 2023 draft. And I think this is going to be a really exciting team to watch come next season.
Oh, yeah. This entire division is going to be just spectacular to watch. Yeah. And so it's going to be just the overall dynamic. It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
Especially, too, if Richardson takes off and then Stroud's struggling. That will be very interesting.
Yeah. Which, in some ways, I could actually see. So, let's go ahead. Let's wrap it up there. Let us know down in the comments what you think of the Colts 2023 NFL draft class. Who was your favorite pick? Do you not like any of the picks? Do your opinions differ from ours? Let us know below. And while you're on your way down there, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe and smash that bell so you get notified when Tyler and I create new content. Other than that, we will see you guys next time.